Okay, clearly that was my insane animals at my house. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Okay, so we have our animation. We want to slow this down. Again, it's Command or I think Alt on a PC. Grab an end and you can stretch it out, or make it as fast as you want. So if we want a really fast one, we can do that, right? Still has the time in between, which is nice. Let's see if we can find a. That's halfway decent. We'll keep that. Okay, so it looks good. Let's do a rotate on all these. Hit R, rotation. I want to bring them up. I want them to scale up and still be rotating when this finishes. So I want them to maybe finish like 3 seconds out. We'll go back and we'll do like a -2 maybe. How's that for speed? Oh, did I miss one? What did I do? I don't know what I did. Okay, let's try that again. Rotation keyframes. They all come in, and I want them to rotate. We'll do forward to. Why does that disappear? What happens when this goes? Okay. Okay, there's an example of something. If I set this to 2, it was disappearing, but now it works. Okay, whatever. Okay, so here's my rotation with it. Okay, so it's kind of slow. What I'm going to do is I want this to stop like right after that bouncy scale comes in. So set that. I'm going to grab these. Oops. Bring this in. Grab these. I'm going to easy ease them. I'm going to go to my graph editor, select these guys. I want it to start really fast. So I'm going to bring these in. So it's going to go fast and slowly die down over time. Let's see what that looks like. That's a lot of rotation. I might do. Let me bring this down so it's not quite so much. That's still a crap load. Let's bring it down. Where's this starting at? This is starting at. Oh, I have it starting at negative. Okay, I'll start these all at 0. I think my third one. Yeah, you can see I need to have my starting. I'm doing more damage than anything. Okay, let's wipe these out. So I have to have this. If I reset these guys back, I just want to zero out all my rotations. So I got to grab the duplicate one, bring it back around. That's what's kind of messing me up. So let's do rotation keyframes here. We'll have it stop about here. Grab all of these. We'll rotate forward. We'll go right just under a full rotation. We'll grab these guys. F9. Now we'll do this. Bring it in. Bring it closer. How does that look? I like it. Good. Okay. Now let's offset these. So we have our 3. Let's just offset these animations a little bit. Let's see what that does. That's pretty crazy. Let's maybe not quite so much offsetting information. There we go. Kind of cool. Now let's play with these inner circles. I don't want to see these guys go behind it, right? I want to math that out. I want to use an alpha math there to do that. So the easiest way to do that, let's animate this circle first. Let's do a similar scale. I'm just going to grab this scale from here and paste it to this inner circle. That way I do the same animation with that. I don't have to reanimate anything. Okay, I'm just kind of timing this out. I'm actually going to switch these. I think this has got to be over here. I want them to all come in one after another. There we go. Okay. Maybe we can do a little bit more time between them. Does that look weird? No, that looks fine. And that might even be kind of fast. If we grab this scale. Oops. We're going to drag these out just a little bit longer. If it'll let me. I don't see, when they're not all aligned, before if we line these all up, we can drag them out like that. But if they're staggered like this and we try to do that, it doesn't work. So if you want to do multiples at the same time, you can grab all these. If I hit left bracket, it'll all align them at the same point on my cursor, and then I can select all these. I can make this a little bit slower. Now I can offset these. I'm going to slow down my rotation just a little bit. Okay, that's too much offset. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Okay. That's a little bit better. Now we need to align it with this circle a little bit better. So when this hits its top spot, that's when I want these to start jutting out. So I'm going to drag these over till about there, right when this crosses that point. Okay, pretty cool. Like it. So now we need to mat that out. We have this animation, we need to mat it out. So let's grab first of all, let's grab these. Let's pre-compose this. So we have just one layer. We'll do like inner radiation. So now this is just one layer. So we can mat all of this out with one layer above it. So we have our inner circle. And rather than animating something to match along with it, let's just copy it. We'll duplicate it actually. Just hit Control D. And we'll set this as our mat. So if I hide this and we go into our mat, we'll go into our group. We have our fill here. We have two paths, but we just want one solid circle throughout. So it merges these paths. So there's actually a line on the outside, a line on the inside, and then it's using the inside to cut it out. So I think path 2, nope. Path 1. Yeah, if we get rid of path 1, it removes that like stencil on the inside, right? So now I have one solid layer to use as our mat. So if we set our mat above our radiation, go to our inner radiation, set our track mat inverted. Now they'll be, you can see it masks those out there. It mats them out. So now I can bring my inner circle back, and they're hiding behind them nicely, right? Pretty cool. So lastly, let's just go to my circle outline. See what we have in here in this group. We got two paths, that same thing, that merging path. If we get rid of that merge path, if we add before we do that, I'll show you why I did that. If we go to add trim paths, and we want to animate this, you can see it's not really doing what we want it to do because there's multiple shapes here. So what we need to do is just to get one circle around with a nice stroke. So if we delete merge paths, let's delete path 1. Okay, so now we have our circle. We can get rid of our fill. We don't want to fill, we want a stroke. And we can set that stroke. I kind of like the white, that's kind of nice, but let's just set the color to be that same blue that it was. So I'll set my stroke color there. Now we can set our trim paths to go around like we normally would, right? So I will animate you. Do like a 2-second animation. Go back to the beginning, animate this. Kind of go in the wrong direction. So instead of doing end, let's do start. Let's bring this back here. I want it to come on like this. So I'm going to start it here. Start it at 100. Go ahead 2 seconds. Bring this down to 0. Now we have this coming on, right? Let's easy as that. Let's go to our graph editor. We'll pull these. I want to just do that starting fast thing again. That's kind of the style we've been going with. So it'll go quickly and then slow down. So what does that look like? Pretty good, not bad. I'm gonna go back up to 100%, see what that looks like. Pretty sweet, I like it. Now let's dress this up. We'll do like a fake production company, right? So we got our radiation um, symbol animated. It looks pretty cool, not too shabby. Let's take all this, go to layer, pre-compose. We will do rename it logo animation. So now we just have our one layer. Now we can start adding backgrounds and all this other stuff. So if we want to move any of this, we can just click this and we have it, right? So let's do new solid. I'll rename it background. I will go to my effects. I'll grab a ramp or gradient, depending on what version of After Effects you're on. We'll do a radial. Let's do like a yellow. Find like a very dark yellowish gradient. It might be. It's like a yellowy orange. Good enough, nice and dark. I'm going to go. I've got this riot gear from Video Copilot. I've got grungy textures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a texture. Like let's say this is pretty gross. Let's throw this in here. Let's do that again. Grab my grunge, throw it in here. I can add that grunge to the top of that background. I'm going to put it right above my background here. And I'm going to set my mode to, let's try overlay. No, let's try screen. And let's bring this way down. What does overlay look like? There's a few different ones we can try here. This may be too, I'm going to take off my ramp really quick. Let's set to screen. I like overlay. Let's make this now. Let's get rid of my ramp actually. Let's just make this yellow. I'm gonna do Control Shift Y, which brings up my original solid settings when I created it, or you can go up to Layer, Solid Settings. I make this yellow. Let's just do a solid. I want it to be dark. That's good. I like that. So now we got this dark yellow grungy texture. We have our animation, but obviously our colors look funky, right? So let's grab our effects. Let's just do a fill. I just want this to be a solid looking icon. Let's make it white. Let's see what we can do. If we change the overlay on this, yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's pretty sweet. So now we can see how that looks on here, right? Pretty cool. Let's do some text. We'll name this like Radiated Studios or something. Bring this up. I'm just going to align it to center. There we go. Let's do a fill. I'm just going to add a fill. It's a little bit easier to do color effects when there's just the fill up here. I'm going to make it white. And let's see if we just bring the opacity down. No, I don't want it to fade behind it. Overlay would look weird. Add would look, if we do add and bring it down, that could be cool. Yeah, let's do that. Set it to add and just bring the opacity down so it kind of picks up some of that, which is kind of cool. Let's mess with the typeface here. It's Helvetica. What if we do like a DIN Pro is kind of cool. If we do like a black. No, let's do like a light here and then a black here. Bold. DIN Pro, black. That's kind of cool. I like that. Looks nice. A thing I really want you guys to start doing is start checking your typefaces. Start doing stuff like this for design. Get it to look really nice and good. And just pay a lot more attention to, design, spacing, stuff like that. That's now that we're starting to stack a lot of these lessons, it's kind of important. So I'm just going to space. We're going to have a little bit of pad in the beginning here, so this comes on. So while that's coming on, I need this to animate in. So we'll just do a really basic track matte for it. Create a new solid. Set this track matte to be the top there. I will set that track matte with alpha inverted. So when it goes above, it's going to hide it. And I'll just do a really easy position move. Go 1 second position move. Okay, so I went back and I set my starting keyframe to be just above that. I'm going to easy ease. I'm going to go to my graph editor. Again, everything starts out fast and just goes slow after that. So I'll grab these all the way to the left a little bit. Okay, I might actually slow that up just a hair. And I want that to come on right at the end of that. So I'm going to bring these guys. I'll bring my matte and my text. I don't really necessarily need to bring my matte over, but I'm going to rename that text matte. Okay. So it's slowly coming on right as that's ending too, which kind of looks cool. So let's watch that. Pretty sweet. If we take off motion blur, sometimes it looks cool without motion blur, depending on what look you're going for. So this might be a case where it looks kind of cool without it. Since it's this overlay, when you add the motion blur on it, it kind of looks funky. But either way, I think it's fine. So what if we did this? What if we wanted multiple, or maybe a radiation, a bigger one? Let's just play with some design stuff. If we copy this and I scale this guy way up, and I bring my opacity way down, does that look crazy? Is there too much? It adds like some very faint extra stuff going on, right? Let's copy that. It looks kind of cool. I don't mind it. If we bring it up a little bit further even. That's kind of cool, actually. I think I'm digging that. I like it. Let's do it. Let's keep it. You know, we could keep adding stuff now to the end of time. Oh, there's my lovely animals again. We could keep adding stuff to the end of time, but play around with stuff like that, duplicating, offsetting, you know, sequential animation, stuff like that. The goal here, I want you to do 2 different looks based off of those icons. Pulling apart those icons and animating them, creating something with them. I did a fake production studio. That's fine. I'm actually going to grab my first one and bring that down just a little bit as well. So that's not fully, I got 54 and 42%. That's pretty cool. I'm digging this. This looks nice. Pretty cool. So yeah, two different icon sets. You can do whatever you want with them, but I want you to do some type of bumper with this. Bring in a, you know, create a fake studio, create a fake photography company, create a fake cell phone service, something. I will add some of these grungy textures and stuff for you to play with. There's like paint, or there's grunge. There's let's see, there's like paint strokes that you can play with. There's paper textures in here that you can add in there. But these transfer modes, these blending modes are really nice for that. So it pulls properties from both layers, those nice transparencies. So there's my, ooh, you know what? We have one more thing we can do. Let's do a little vignette. Let's go new adjustment layer. Adjustment layer is a layer, any effects or anything we put on here, like let's say we go and we do like a curves effect. Curves is just a color correction tool. So if we bring this way down, you can see it darkens our whole project. Anything you add to this, like a curves effect to make it darker, it adjusts everything below it. So all this is going to get affected. If our adjustment layer is in the middle, it's only going to affect these 3, and these top 3 will go unaffected. So let me rename this vignette. I think I spelled that right. We're going to do a curves. We're going to darken it because we want to do our edges, right? So rather than the whole thing like this, if we go up to our ellipse tool while we have this selected, my dogs are going to freak out again. and we do ellipse, and we double click it, it'll create a mask around that adjustment layer. So you can see mask here. If you hit F, it'll bring up our feathering, and we want, instead of add, we want to do subtract. We want to feather out that so it really darkens that edge. So that looks kind of sweet. How much feathering is the question. Kind of cool. We can also go and adjust colors on that. So if we want to bring out like some green or whatever, you can add that in to the outside of that edge. So maybe like a little bit of red. And if we take away some blue, how does that affect it? I'm not seeing a giant change here. If we do green, bring green down a little bit. That we have like a little faint red along the outside, which is kind of cool. We could also go to like fast blur and add a blur to it. And it'll blur out those edges, which looks kind of cool. Got to be careful though. If we do repeat edges, see down here, it gets you this boxy look. If we do repeat edges, it'll extend this blur outside our edge so you don't get any of that. Okay. So if we blur that out a lot, what happens? I think we need to go above our curves though. Does that make a difference? Maybe not. Okay, kind of cool. If I bring the feathering down, you'll probably be able to see this a little bit better. But okay, so there's my final. I like it. Let me play through this. You can take a peek. Now the question is, do we want motion blur on this or not? We shall find out. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email, call me, and we can talk through it. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week.